This story's title is A Boy Named Harry, The Childhood of Lee Kuan Yew by Patrick Yee. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Harry was a bright boy, and like many bright boys, he had a little mischief in him. This playful streak was the reason why his father was angrily holding him by his ears over a well. As his feet dangled in midair, Harry tried hard not to cry even though he was in a lot of pain. Was his father going to let go? Harry did not know. What he knew was that he was very sorry he had messed up an expensive jar of his father's hair cream. Luckily for Harry, his father did not drop him into the well. After all, he was just 4 years old, and there was so much more he had to do, like play with his neighbors, the children of Chinese fishermen and Malays, living in the kampong by his house in Telok Kurau. Born on the 16th day of September 1923, Harry was the first child of Lee Chin Koon and Chua Jim Neo. A family friend suggested that his parents give him the Chinese name Kuan Yew, which means light and brightness. His grandfather, Kung, who greatly admired the British, gave him the name Harry. Harry first lived in a 2-story house at 92 Kampong Java Road. Not long after, his family moved to the large wooden brick house in Telok Kurau. When Harry was 3, he became a big brother to Kim Yew. Later, the family grew to include 2 more brothers, Thiam Yew and Suan Yew, and a sister, Kim Mon. All 5 of them slept with their parents in one room of the house. There was never a dull moment, as 7 of his cousins lived in the house too. When Harry was a child, there was no TV and he didn't have a lot of toys. He liked to play with spinning tops, marbles, kites, and even fighting fish. These games made him rather competitive. He always wanted to win. Harry also read a lot. He looked forward to Fridays when the mail boat from Britain carrying magazines and newspapers would arrive at the Tanjong Pagar wharf. Every so often, Harry and his family would spend time at his grandfather's rubber estate in Chai Chi. To get to the house on the estate, they had to ride down a clay track in a bullock cart led by 2 bullocks driven by his grandmother's gardener. It was a bumpy ride, but a lot of fun for Harry and his siblings. But life was not all fun and games. Harry's father often came home angry and fought with his mother. His mother was a strong woman though and bravely did what she could to make sure that Harry and his siblings were not harmed. Grateful for what his mother went through, Harry promised that he would always do his best for her. As he grew older, Harry became the one his mother depended on to help make important family decisions. Before he turned 6, Harry was sent to a nearby school that the fishermen's children went to. The one-room schoolhouse was a wooden hut with an atap roof. There were benches and tables that were made of planks set on the clay floor. There was one other room in the hut. It was where the Mandarin-speaking teacher lived. The teacher made the students repeat words after him without making sure that Harry and his friends understood what the words meant. Harry was not happy with the school. After much complaining, he was allowed to attend Chun Guan School in Ju Chia Terrace instead. It was quite a change from the old school. Not only was it 2 stories high, it had cement floors and 10 classrooms with actual desks. And there were many more children, about 40 in each class. Harry walked to school and back every day, a 1.6-kilometer trip each way. That did not bother him. What made him unhappy were the lessons, which were taught in Mandarin. At home, Harry spoke English to his parents, Baba Malay to his grandparents, and Malay with some Hokkien to his friends. Mandarin was not a language he was comfortable with. So Harry tried again. He begged his parents to allow him to attend an English language school. After a while, his parents let him join Telokurau English School. Harry was relieved. He could finally understand what was being taught. Learning came easily to Harry, especially during his primary school days. He did not have to try very hard to do well in school. But Harry's parents felt that he was not putting enough effort into his schoolwork, so they had him go over his homework with his Uncle Kang Hee 3 times a week before dinner. Harry wanted to laugh. It seemed strange to him that the least studious of his uncles was asked to make sure he got his homework done. However, now that the lessons were in English, Harry shone in his studies. He was even given a double promotion from Primary 1 to Standard 1, skipping Primary 2. 6 years later, at the end of Standard 5, he had to sit for a very important exam, the exam to get into secondary school. Harry decided to work hard and it paid off. He was the top student in his school and earned a place at Raffles Institution, which only took in the best students. Once in secondary school, Harry didn't feel that he had to put in much effort to do well. But he was good in mathematics and the science and strong in English language, so after his first year exams, Harry earned a place in the most prestigious class of Standard 7, Secondary 2. Even though he was now in secondary school, Harry was as mischievous as ever. He was often distracted and wrote notes to his classmates during lessons. He even copied some of the things his teachers did or said. Once he was caught making a drawing of the back of his science teacher's head, complete with its bald patch. While he didn't always pay attention in class, Harry still managed to earn praise from one of his form teachers. In his report card, M.N. Campos wrote, "Harry Lee Kuan Yew is a determined worker for a place of distinction. He is likely to attain a high position in life." At Raffles Institution, Harry enjoyed taking part in school activities and was involved in the Boy Scouts. He also played cricket and tennis, swam and joined in many debates. He spoke clearly and was not afraid to express his thoughts. For all the prizes he won at school, there was one thing that Harry would never receive an award for: getting to school on time. He could never wake up early and was often late for school. The rule at RI was that anyone late for school 3 times in one term would get 3 strokes of the cane. This happened once to Harry and he was sent to the principal, D.W. McLeod. Mr. McLeod knew Harry was a very good student, but that didn't mean he wouldn't be punished. Bent over a chair, Harry was given 3 hard strokes of the cane. When it came time for the Junior Cambridge exams, Harry once again set his mind to doing well. He ended up becoming the top student in school. That year, he also won 2 scholarships which gave him the grand sum of $350. Harry spent part of it on a Raleigh bicycle and still had money left over. The next year, Harry sat for his senior Cambridge exams. He prepared himself to do well and was rewarded for his efforts. Not only did Harry come in first at Raffles Institution, he was also first among all the students in Singapore and Malaya. Harry was excited. Because of his performance, he was given the Anderson Scholarship to study at Raffles College. The scholarship would pay for his school fees, books, board and lodging, and also leave him with some pocket money. Harry had come a long way from the one-room schoolhouse. Now he was ready for college life. The end.
Thanks for watching. For more exciting read aloud stories, please subscribe to our channel Little Hearts Super Kids. Also follow us on Instagram for amazing updates.